Hi guys, and welcome back to I Speak English. My name's Hayley, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at a Cambridge C1 Part 4 reading task. This is your keyword transformation task. We're going to do a full walkthrough of the task. This is what I would do if I was basically teaching a student in a one-to-one lesson. We're going to take a look at this task. It's very difficult. A lot of people really hate this task. And a lot of my students always ask me, how am I supposed to complete this? Like, I'm not a mind reader. How am I supposed to know what words to put in, what words to ignore, which words to change? So I'm going to go through this with you now. If you're in the same situation, that sounds familiar to you, stay with me here and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to complete this task. I'm going to give you an easy strategy to follow. And we're going to do 6 questions. We're going to do a full exam task together. And hopefully it will help you. You'll be able to find the right answers by the time we've finished. Before we do take a look at that, do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Any subscription, any like helps. It just helps it to push the video to more people so that they can prepare for their C1 Advanced exam as well. So do make sure you give this video a like if you find it useful. And make sure you're subscribed so that you can keep coming back every week to prepare for your Cambridge C1 exam with me. Right, having said that, we're going to get started. So we're going to take a look at the Part 4 reading task now then. If you don't know what to do, I am going to give you an easy strategy. I'm not going to give you the full one because I've already done a video, I'll put it up here, that shows you everything that you're tested on, including all of the grammar and vocabulary. So if you want to learn the grammar and the vocabulary points that you are tested on before you do the strategy, go and watch that video up there and that's going to help you. We're just going to concentrate on the strategy in this video and I'm going to walk you through how I would use it in the exam if I were you. All right. So this practice test comes from the formula textbooks, C1 Formula by Pearson. I'll put the textbook up here. I'll put a link to it in the description as well if you want to buy it. They have some really nice practice exams that are really useful. We're going to take a look at the full Part 4 task. So let's take a look. Just to remind you, as you know, you need to complete the second sentence here, so that it means the same as the first sentence, and you need to complete it using 3 to 6 words, and you cannot change the word that you get given. So this word here, we cannot change this keyword. Okay, that's just a reminder. 0 is always an example for you. So we've got, for example, let's have a look. Economists expect the price of oil to fall next year, and you had the word anticipated, and then we got the price of oil next year. Okay, we've got is anticipated to fall as your answer. So the reason how you could have figured this out is look at your subject and object. Okay, your object is here in the first sentence, then all of a sudden in the second sentence, it's at the start of your sentence. So if your object suddenly moves to the start of your sentence, that tells you that you need a passive form, because passive forms always start with the object, and then they have to be, and then they have a past participle. And if we look here, our past participle is your keyword, okay? So you would know that it is anticipated, and then we need to add in to fall, and then you've got your answer. Okay, so that's our example. Now we're going to take a look at number 1, and I'm going to show you this strategy that I've used. So we have, when she was promoted to project manager, Jana put a lot of effort and enthusiasm into her new role. You have the word through, and then Jana completely as a project manager. Now, at this point, what I would do is go in and highlight all of the similar words, and then basically ignore them, because that's going to show you the words that you have to concentrate on, the words that you need to change, basically. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so we've got project manager, so they're similar. This is quite tricky, actually, because it's only giving you a few words. But we've got Jana Jana. A lot of effort and enthusiasm into her work. Okay, as project manager. Okay, so we can basically say that when she was promoted to is the same as that. So we've got to concentrate on put a lot of effort and enthusiasm into her new role. And we've got Jana completely and the word through. Okay, this is going to be a tricky one because it's testing you on an idiomatic expression. And if you don't know the idiom, it's really hard to guess. This is when they test you on vocabulary, this is where it gets tricky. The grammar's easy enough, but if you don't know the phrasal verb or you don't know the idiom, you're just going to have to guess. Okay, so we'll take a look again. So we need basically an idiomatic expression for put a lot of effort and enthusiasm into something with the word throw. Can you think of an expression with throw? I'll give you a few seconds. Right, if you don't know the expression, I'll give you the expression and then we'll try and cobble together the response. So the expression is throw yourself into something. If you start something with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, you throw yourself into that thing. Okay, so we know we've got throw yourself into, or in this case, because it's Jana, it would be herself into. We'd have to change that. Okay, so that leaves put a lot of effort and enthusiasm into. Okay, so we can add this here. So Jana completely threw herself into, and then we still need to add her new role. That's all we've got left, okay? Threw herself into her new role as a project manager. And that's it. That completes the sentence. Jana completely threw herself into a new role as a project manager. Bit annoying that they've just put when she was promoted to and not added that on the end of the sentence. Normally in the exam they would add it because that's just kind of annoying for you that you don't know whether you need to include it or not. Normally in the exam they would include all the words. Okay, all right. We'll move on to the second one. Let's see. Hopefully the second one might be a bit more grammar based so that we can kind of move a few things around rather than vocabulary based, which are the trickier questions, to be fair. So let's take a look. We've got Leo was unable to understand what the letter said by using a dictionary to help him. We had the word aid, and Leo understood what the letter said with a dictionary. Okay, so again, we're going to go in, we'll highlight some words here. So we've got Leo was able to understand what the letter said. Leo was understand what the letter said by using a dictionary to help him. Okay, and we've got addiction. So the only things we've got left are by using to help him, and we've got aid. Okay, first of all, is aid a verb or a noun? Can actually be both. But we need to figure out, so now that we've highlighted and we know what we've got left, now we need to figure out what does aid replace from this first sentence. What is this going to replace? By using? To help him? What's it going to replace? So it's actually going to replace both, kind of. Aid is a synonym for help, okay? But because we've got the word with here, that tells you you're probably going to need a noun afterwards, because we don't tend to put with and then a verb. We normally put with and a noun. So that basically tells you aid is now going to be a noun instead of a verb. And before a noun, what do we normally have? An article. So let's add in. So the article would be the, and then we've got aid as the noun. With the aid, we know that we definitely need at least one more word because we need between 3 and 6 words. So Leo understood what the letter said with the aid a dictionary. Here we just need the word, okay, the aid of a dictionary. Okay, so that was another bit of a kind of tricky one there, because we didn't know whether aid was a noun or a verb. But again, kind of look around the gap. Look at any grammar that you have around the gap, and that should tell you what type of word comes after, immediately after that gap. Okay. Because we had the preposition here. We knew that we needed a noun Could possibly have been a verb in ing, but with aiding doesn't make any sense. All right. We're going to take a look at the next one then. So, until Olivia explained the situation to him, the manager was unaware of what was happening. We've got until Olivia, the manager was unaware of what was happening. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of similarities here. We've got until Olivia, and the whole last sentence is similar. So all we need to replace is explain the situation to him. And you got the word picture. Okay, so unfortunately this is going to be another idiomatic expression. Hopefully you know it. If you don't, I'm sorry, it's very hard. But I would say always take a guess. Okay, never leave a question blank. Even if you think, oh my god, I don't know. At least put the word in, because you know that that word needs to go in. So at least put the word in and try to just add a couple more words around, and you might even get 1 point for it. Remember, these are worth 2 points per question, okay? So please don't leave it blank, because you are guaranteed to get 0 points if you leave the question blank. If you guess, you might get 1 point. Okay, right, so we need an idiom for explain the situation with the word picture. I'll give you a few seconds, have a think. Alright, so if you're not sure, I'll tell you what the idiom is. So the idiom is to put someone in the picture. If you explain something to them or update them in some way, you put them in the picture. So now you know the idiom. How are you going to complete this sentence? Until Olivia, the manager, was unaware of what was happening. So we know that it's put. And we know that here we've got the word him, so we need to change, instead of you, it needs to be him, and then we had in the picture. Until Olivia put him in the picture, the manager was unaware of what was happening. Okay. Yeah, very tricky when it comes to idioms. It's so hard. You do have to guess. But again, that's why you need to learn vocabulary. I say this in a lot of videos. Vocabulary for C1 and C2 is a massive part of the exam that a lot of people underestimate. I have got some flashcards for you if you want. I'll put them in the description. I'll put a link up there as well. Click that, download them. They're free. Download them and just kind of go over them slowly. Like slowly build your vocabulary that way. Don't try and rush into the exam when you've not got enough vocabulary, because it's not something you can learn over a short period of time. Okay, so take a look at there, click that, download them, and just kind of go through them slowly. Okay, right, so we're going to head on to our next one. Hopefully it's not too vocab focused. Right, so we've got if it has to be postponed due to weather, the match will be played at a later date. You've got the word event, and we've got due to the weather, the match will be played at a later date. Okay. So again, let's go through and highlight due to the later date. Okay, so all of that is the same, so we can ignore that. And we got if it has to be postponed. Okay. All right. So we need to replace it has to be postponed with a phrase and the word event. Okay, so we need to think, okay, what is our keyword going to replace in this first sentence? I'm going to say event needs to basically kind of replace if it has to be. And then we'll need to add in postponed somewhere as well. So I'll give you a few seconds, have a think. Pause the video if you need to. Have a think what goes in that gap. Alright, so we would normally say, in the event that. Okay. You do actually have multiple options here with this expression. So you could say, in the event that, and then kind of subject, verb, object, it is postponed. So it's testing you here on verb patterns, basically. So we've got, in the event that it is postponed. That's one option. We've also got, in the event of postponing, You can do it that way as well. Or you could say in the event of being postponed. So there's several different verb patterns here. So you've got multiple options. Okay. So sometimes they do that, especially with reported speech and verbs like recommend or advise or stuff like that. They generally give you different verb patterns to see if you can play around with them or if you know which is correct. In this case, all three are correct. All three make sense. All three are grammatically correct. And you've used the correct amount of words. Okay, moving on. I've got the passengers were told that leave their luggage unattended. Okay, these are really tricky because we have really similar words. We're told that, we're warned that, and then leave their luggage unattended. So we need to replace they should never. And you have the word circumstances. Okay. Right, so this is a very common grammar point to be tested on for keyword transformation. I go through this grammar point in the other video that I mentioned, so if you want to watch how to do this grammar point, go take a look at that other video there or save it for later. So we have circumstances, which tells you it's part of an inversion form. Okay, so inversion forms come with negative adverbs at the start. Circumstances is going to be part of that negative adverbial phrase that we need to use before we then invert. Okay, so let's take a look again. What is the phrase that we use, the negative adverb phrase that we use with circumstances, which will basically replace never. So remember, we're trying to take our keyword and replace something there, which is going to be never. What is this negative adverb phrase? Do you know? Have a think. So we would use under no circumstances. That would be the negative adverb phrase. And then we also have to invert our subject and our auxiliary verb as well to complete this sentence. Okay, so let's take a look. So we've got under no circumstances. Under no circumstances. And then, as I said, we need to invert our subject and our auxiliary verb, which is should. So should now needs to come before our subject, and then we need our subject. The passengers were told that under no circumstances should they leave their luggage unattended. Okay, so watch out for words like this that are part of negative adverbial phrases. Some other examples of inversion, until. They often do it with until. Like in no way. Not until. What else do they do it with? With never. With hardly, with rarely. So watch out for negative adverbs, because that should tell you that you need an inversion form. Okay. All right, we've got one more, so let's take a look at our final one. So Kathy wondered how likely it was that she would win the competition. And we've got Kathy asked herself what? You've got the word chances there, the competition. Okay, so again, we're going to highlight. So we've got the competition. Kathy asked herself. Kathy wondered. Okay, and here we've got what, but there we've got how. And we've got chances. So what is chances going to replace from this sentence? How about look? What is chances going to replace there? So chances is basically going to replace kind of how likely it was. Okay, and then we've got that she would win. So here we're being tested again on sentence patterns. So do you need an ing form? Do you need a subject-verb-object form? Do you need an infinitive form? What is going to come after chances? How are we going to kind of convert this sentence here? So Kathy asked herself what? So chances is a noun, so we're probably also going to need an article somewhere as well. Have a think. Pause the video if you need longer to think about it. So you've got multiple options here depending on how you want your sentence pattern to go. So we need to add chances, so that means you need an article before. What the chances? Kathy asked herself what the chances were of winning the competition. Okay, we could also flip that round again and say, what were the chances? Kathy asked herself what were the chances of winning the competition. Or Kathy asked herself what her chances were of winning again the competition. Okay, so we had 3 different sentence patterns there that we could have used. Right, so that was a bit of a tricky one. Quite vocabulary heavy, quite sentence pattern heavy as well. But you will also get tested on a different variety of grammar forms like inversion, hypothetical sentences, cleft sentences, phrasal verbs. There weren't any phrasal verbs in this one, but there usually are. There usually is a phrasal verb, at least somewhere. Again, take a look at that video up there if you want a kind of full breakdown of everything that you'll be tested on. And if you did find this video useful, please do give it a like and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you want more videos like this as well, if you like the walkthroughs of the tasks, please let me know in the comments and I'll make more for you with different tasks, different exam tasks from the Cambridge C1 exam. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Again, write in the comments. Let me know if you have any doubts about the exam and I'll get back to you. And if you want to take a lesson with me or take any of my video courses, you can go to www.englishclassesonline.co.uk and you can see all my services there. You can also click the link in the descriptions to take a look at my video courses too. That's all from me for today, and I'll see you in another lesson soon.